This is the Lovin Dubai show. It is Wednesday morning, and what an interview we had. We spoke to Khatab from Love is Blind. We also spoke about the fact that more rain is coming to the UAE. We spoke about Abu Dhabi school fees and the hikes that parents can expect, and also the one, the only, the Ambanis hanging out at Globa Village.
And if you missed the episode, don't forget to subscribe to the Lovin Dubai show podcast wherever you get your podcast from, and enjoy.
Good morning, Dubai. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show, where we go through the top trending stories that everyone across the country is talking about. Our top story that broke yesterday: rain in the UAE to increase by 30% in future.
As well, in sad news, training aircraft crashes in Fujairah.
We're talking about school fees in Abu Dhabi with a max increase that the school authority has announced.
And as well, the Ambanis were shopping in Global Village like every other Dubai resident.
It's the winter vibe, Global Village for sure. Also, later on in the show, we're so excited to welcome Love is Blind star Khatab, talking dating culture, show drama, and what life is like after the show.
And in today's rapid weather report, highs of 33 degrees with humidity at 81%.
No sign of rain for now. Before we jump in, good morning to everyone on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We also go live on podcast format if you want to find that wherever you get your podcast from. So today on the show, we're super excited. At about 8:50, we're going to welcome Khatab, who is one of the stars of the Netflix show Love is Blind. But before we get there, we want to talk about the fact that that show is hardcore.
Now, it's not only that, Casey, as well, like right now, with the weather and everything, it just like gives you like dating vibes. And Love is Blind aired and everything, and makes me wonder like what are the perfect questions that you should ask your date.
Exactly, but this is the thing, right? Because they went through this whole process of that first date, but they did it with like 8, 10, 12. They don't really tell you, like a million people they had that first date with. And it's like, how do you make an impression? But not even how do you make a good impression on the person, but what are the questions that you, the audience, if you're watching, like what is that first date question that you always ask? Do you have one?
I have a lot of, I do. I have like a list of questions that I ask every single time I'm on a date. Really, for sure. Because like they can like for sure let me know if the relationship can develop.
Okay, let's go then. What are they?
My first question is, how long was your last relationship?
You asked that on a first date?
Yeah.
Solid.
Because like if the person that I'm talking to cannot actually sustain a long relationship, that's a red flag.
Yeah,
to me,
okay, fair, 100%.
It's like, then I'm sorry, then that means that you are gonna walk out whenever a small minor inconvenience happens.
Okay, another one.
2,
by the way, take notes if you want to take
don't take my notes, I can be very annoying sometimes, but as well I do ask like, what are you looking for? Because like, what if I'm not the one? Like I don't mean like in terms of like looks or anything. Like, what if he goes like, oh yeah, no, I want a party girl when I am the girl that stays at home and sleeps. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be the party girl.
I love that for you. So you just put it all out there on date one and you get it in.
What about you?
Well, I was hoping to go through your list because I didn't have any.
Really?
Yeah, I'm engaged now, so luckily. But like the whole dating, I went into it so lackadaisical. I remember one of my sister-in-laws said that she went into dating thinking, as you should, this is going to be the father of my kids, so therefore you date with that attitude, you ask the right questions from day one. I never did that.
True, no, that's very important because as well, like I ask, for example, questions like, are you thinking of getting married?
Date one.
Literally, because like, I know it's like, because I tell him like, listen, I don't know if I'm gonna marry you, and I don't know if this is gonna work out for us to get married, but I don't want to be so deeply in love with you at like, I don't know, after a year, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, what, I'm not looking for a marriage. Like, really, bro? Like, are you joking?
Okay, so I think what we've learned from this is take dating advice from Farah, not from me. Let's jump into our top story of the day. Rain in the UAE to increase by 30% in future. Brawley's at the ready. Experts have predicted this increase is due to climate change. So average temperatures are expected to rise in the future, which could lead to more frequent light storms and an increase in heavy rainfall, floods, hail and lightning. The intense weather conditions that we saw in April this year could happen again, and we should be ready and prepared for such scenarios.
Well, honestly, I'm kind of like excited for winter, but no one can forget that in April 2024, the city was hit by the heaviest downpours recorded in 75 years. years. Now, in response, Dubai announced a 30 billion dirhams investment in its rainwater drainage system in June 2024, while Sharjah approved a 400 million dirhams drainage project in October 2024.
So yes, the news that more rain is coming this year will definitely shock us. I think, as you said, like back in April, what happened and what we experienced, in case you're new to Dubai or in case you don't live here, we saw something that felt apocalyptic.
True.
The aftermath, It was a rainstorm we'd never experienced. It was the most rain that had ever come to the UAE. However, what's happened since then is the UAE is putting a phenomenal amount of money, hundreds of millions of dirhams, into preparations for the future. So despite the fact that we experienced something quite traumatic and people are still recovering, we trust that the government is looking in the right direction. We can't control the weather, but at least we can prepare better for a similar situation, which it looks like what is happening.
I agree with you. And you know what as well, I think with the UAE, getting ready for the rain and everything as well, we should get ready. Like if you see, like let's say a red alarm, right? Like that's posted on social media, like, oh, red alarm, a lot of rain is going to be coming tomorrow. Don't drive to work. Don't drive to work. Simple, we don't need to be like, oh no, I am gonna be strong and I will be defeating the rain, and that's not gonna happen. Don't take it for granted. Take the advice as it is and implement it.
Heed the warnings from government. I couldn't have said it better myself. Let's jump in to our next story.
Well, of course, now the UAE's General Civil Aviation Authority is investigating a tragic training aircraft accident that had happened in Fujairah airspace. Now, according to reports, the aircraft, which was carrying a flight instructor and a trainee pilot, lost radar contact approximately 20 minutes after takeoff.
The plane was flying in the vicinity of Fujairah when communication was suddenly lost. Rescue teams have already recovered the body of the flight instructor along the coast of Fujairah, and efforts are still ongoing to locate the missing trainee pilot, as well as the wreckage of the aircraft.
Now, the General Civil Aviation Authority has expressed its deepest condolences to the family of the deceased instructor, offering support during this difficult time as an investigation into the cause of the accident is now underway.
And our thoughts and prayers are with the family of the deceased as the search continues, and we'll bring you an update as soon as we have it.
100%. So jumping to our next story, Abu Dhabi is limiting private school fee hikes to 15% max. So the Abu Dhabi Department of Knowledge and Education has introduced a new policy to regulate private school fees. Now, under the new policy, private schools in Abu Dhabi will be limited to raising their fees by up to 15% per year. Now, the move is part of a broader effort to ensure the affordability and transparency of private education in the Emirates.
15%, interesting. Additionally, the department has introduced a new measure that links school fee increases to the Abu Dhabi Education Cost Index, ensuring that any hikes are aligned with the overall cost of education in the region. So there's not going to be any massive jumps there. The policy also sets out clear guidelines on when and how schools can charge their fees.
Now, schools are now allowed to collect the first installment of tuition fees 1 month before the academic year begins. However, they are allowed as well to charge a registration fee up to 5% of the total tuition, which can be collected up to 4 months in advance.
The registration fee will be deducted from the final tuition fee. However, schools are prohibited from asking for any financial guarantees, pre-deposits or registration fees before a student has officially enrolled.
Now, this new policy, of course, aims to bring a greater clarity and fairness to the private education system in Abu Dhabi, helping families plan and manage their education costs more effectively. I think, this is really great because families tend to, I would say, plan their finances, and most of their planning of finances depends on their kids and where they are, where are they placing their kids in schools. And we all I all the time hear oh my god, schools and education is very expensive. But with that decision to not allow private schools to have a hike, only up to 15% is allowed. I think that's maybe gonna set the record straight, and parents will be able to know what school to enroll their kids in.
Yeah, I think there's both sides to the story here, because I think it's important for regulation and things like school fees, and that every school is operating in the same manner, because we got a couple of comments in for people saying some registration fees were non-refundable, and that obviously would affect them if their kid, for example, is on a waiting list for a school. They're paying this non-refundable registration fee and then not getting it back. However, 50% is still a lot. I look at rent hikes, and if your rent is hiked 15%, it's like, okay. But across the board, we've seen the KHDA in Dubai, that's the school government authority in Dubai, doing amazing things in terms of making sure that all the fee structure and the fee process is transparent, albeit it's high. At least you know exactly what you're paying. It's all very above board. You can go onto the school body online and you can see how much school costs the whole way up year on year. And Abu Dhabi is following in their suit, especially ensuring with like the pre-registration fees and things. So overall, I think it's great that they're regulating the process.
No, I do agree with you, and as well I think that one of the most effective way for new parents and or let's say parents who moved to the UAE recently, you know, when they want to enroll their kids, is the fact that when they open the website of a school and they have like the full rundown of how much the full year is going to be costing them, I think that's very effective. And with that rule, I think it's even going to be more effective for later on as they are going to be planning on their finances.
Super helpful with the planning there. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. We want to talk to you about the Lovin Dubai newsletter. So if you're a fan of newsletters, I'd highly encourage you to check out the Lovin Dubai newsletter. It has had a major refresh. So if you shun social media, you don't want Instagram on your phone, you don't want TikTok, you don't want YouTube, but you still want your daily dose of news fresh into your inbox every single day, you can subscribe to the Lovin Dubai newsletter.
Well, you can simply find the sign-up link. It's our link in bio on Instagram.
Speaking of Instagram, let's jump into our next story. This was going viral yesterday. The Ambanis were shopping in Global Village, much like ourselves. So winter is here, and that means everyone is coming to spend time in beautiful Dubai, including our famous newlyweds, the Ambanis. The internet was absolutely buzzing yesterday, and Ant Ambani and Radhika Merchant, they were spotted shopping at Global Village in Dubai.
Well, that's beautiful because I really want to go Global Village. However, Ant Ambani and Radhika Merchant, the high-profile couple from one of India's wealthiest families, recently visited Dubai's popular Global Village, capturing the attention of fans and visitors. Well, they spent time browsing spices, snapping pictures, and even interacting with the crowd.
I want to see the spices that their parents were asking for, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you take up? And then we have another video of Radhika, you know, she's doing the ice cream, the Turkish ice cream thing.
The Turkish ice cream, and he'd say, like, he wouldn't give it to her, and then she'd be like, oh, yeah, the Turkish thing.
It's so amazing. Like, they had, hands down, the wedding of the year.
Yeah, they did.
Billionaires, millionaires, celebrities from all over the world attended in what felt like a 6-month long, although it was 2 weekends spread before and after. Like big names, Priyanka Chopra, Nick Jonas, Kim Kardashian, Mark Zuckerberg, the who's who of the world attended, glitterati. And they had an amazing honeymoon in Europe, they went to Paris. But like this is 6 months later, and I'd love to know the behind the scenes story of this trip.
I think, look, if anyone's coming to Dubai and the weather is beautiful right now, there's no way that they would skip Global Village.
I don't know if I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think it's people who grew up in Dubai love Global Village. It's such a part of the culture here every summer that you go. But I think billionaires new to the city, because I don't think, how would they know about it? I don't know. And it's 25 dirham and it's crowds of people. I think it's so humble.
Yeah.
Because it's so populated.
Well, I'll tell you the secret.
So safety-wise, I would just think they're so cool, right? Because they're just like, whatever, let's just go and get some Turkish ice cream. I love that for them.
I mean, but I'll tell you the secret. Probably, you know, like Mama Ambani asked for like some spices, some curry spices, you know what I mean? Some like turmeric. Oh yeah.
Cardamom, who knows? But I think, my theory is they went as kids. Or one of them went as kids. And was, you know, because when you went to that place as a child and it's got that nostalgia and you love it, and it doesn't matter what the world looks like you want to go back there because it reminds you of your childhood. So I think one of them went as kids and wanted to show the other, like, this is where I spent my childhood.
Oh my God, yeah. Because like once you go, it
Allegedly.
gets embedded in your brain.
Yeah.
It's like, it gets embedded in your brain and then it gets addictive and then you go like another time and another time and then it's like once it's done, you go like, oh, it's done. Even though like, are you really sad? You probably are, but like...
It's like fixed chocolate. They
Yeah.
tease us with half a year opening time, so we just want more and more all the time. Speaking of wanting more and more, the Love is Blind Habibi show dropped on Netflix. The reunion just came out. And the internet is obsessed. And we are so excited to welcome a star of the show, Khatab, joining us. We're going to talk all about dating culture in the region. We're going to talk about the show drama and what life is like after the show. Do stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Khatab Khatab Kindi.
Yes.
Kindi. Excuse me. From Love is Blind Habibi, known for his roller coaster romance with Asma, but for ongoing questions where love is truly blind or if outside pressures make things more complicated. And after all the drama, where do things now stand? Welcome to the show. Thank you so much
for having me.
being here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How are you guys doing?
We're doing
good.
good. We really appreciate your time today.
How are you doing? You look really great.
I'm good, thank you so much.
First of all, I want to say something.
Yeah.
Khatab. Love that name.
I love your name.
Why did you decide to join Love is Blind, Habib?
Honestly, like it was just a good experience. You know, I'm a very adventurous guy. So for me, when I got the message, it was something fresh, you know, just to kind of just try it out. Did I know that I was gonna actually find somebody? I wasn't really like saying no to the idea. Also, like as a DJ, it's very difficult to find the right people that kind of understand your job. You have that image right away that you're just a bad person or like your nightlife and all these things, and people think that you'll choose that life over creating a family, which is not true. And they're not really going to give you the chance to just kind of explain how this is my passion, and if I have a family, like I'm of course going to choose my family over my passion. Like that's just normal, you know. So for me, like the whole Love is Blind experience was cool because you don't really like get that first impression. You're just mostly on talking and hearing the voice and giving the information, and you're not even allowed to say what you do and any of that stuff. So you can actually connect on a very good like heart-to-heart level versus just kind of like looks first. So that's why I decided to do it.
So much there. At the beginning, you mentioned that it's fresh.
Yes.
And fresh it was.
Yeah.
Like no one in the world has ever made a TV show about Arab dating. So it was phenomenal. It was groundbreaking. You had the whole region, the world, if not talking.
Yeah.
But we have to ask, like, what was your family's initial reaction? Like, it's not the norm to talk about dating so publicly.
It was very difficult to get my family to agree to this, which is normal, you know, as an Arab culture. Regardless if I grew up in Canada or not, regardless if I have a North American mentality or not, like I'm still a very like cultural person. My family is very religious, very conservative. They're open-minded, but to an extent, right? So it was mostly like the chats of, hey, like we don't want you to do this just because we're not sure how it will come out. But if you think you're ready and if you think you can represent us and yourself the best way possible, then we trust your decision. So that was the nice thing about my family. It's just like they kind of trust my process of living my life, especially in music, right? And they just kind of let me do it, but there was always that fear. But now they're super happy the way it came out and they're very proud, and I appreciate that a lot from them. So.
Well, I'm gonna go a little bit behind the scenes. Like, where was it filmed, and where you guys really like did not see each other at all initially?
So it was the first part, the pods, was filmed in Lebanon. Okay. It was beautiful there, but and then the second part after was in Dubai. Yes, we were not allowed to do anything. Like there was absolutely no communication with the girls. There was absolutely no communication within the guys, because listen, like, for the experience to work, you really have to be isolated. Otherwise, all the outside like interference, let's say, would change the whole experience. So if you're not on point with that, and the production company is not on point with that, the whole experiment will fail. So they did a pretty good job at just creating that environment, and that's why, you know, we have a success story, Muhammad and Safa. You know, we have another success story, Shafiq and Dunya. You know, like I consider myself and Asma a success story because we got to know each other, and now we're very good friends. So it was awesome, you know, and everybody else got a really good experience from it. Exposure as well for the people that weren't able to find love there. So it was a win-win for everybody, and yeah, like it was successful for this for that reason, to be honest, that we were kind of isolated. But yeah,
Isolated is one thing, but was there anything else that you weren't allowed to bring into the conversation? So you said at the beginning you weren't allowed to mention what you do. Like, is there any other?
So you're not allowed to talk about the way you look, because it's all about Love is Blind, right? So you're not allowed to say any of that. Like even my part where, excuse me, even when my part when I was like kind of hinting at the idea of, hey, listen, like the last few years, like I wasn't really taking care of myself. Like Asma kind of get the hint that I'm not fit right now, but I'm working on myself, because I started my weight loss journey actually before the show. So when I went in, I was already in the mentality of changing my life, but I wasn't able to talk about it. And even when I would mention it, production would interfere and say, hey, listen, like, no. Like they were so hardcore and like cutting the mic off or doing these things, because it will ruin everything, right? If I walk in and I say, I have a six-pack, I'm 6'7", you know, like I'm this, I'm that, then it would just ruin the whole idea of Love is Blind. So we weren't allowed to talk about body. We weren't allowed to talk about names. Like for example, my name is Cardiac as my DJ name. I wasn't allowed to say like I was allowed to say like I'm a DJ, but I wasn't allowed to say that my DJ name is Cardiac, because what if the girl already is a fan of my music? So then that just ruins the whole experience. So there are like little things like this, more personal. Yeah, you just kind of have to be surface level with those things, and it works. So yeah.
Nice.
That's very nice. Well, if you can tell us about like the feeling when a door opened to meet Asma.
Look, it was terrifying.
Okay.
Because you're talking to this person for the last while, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I'm gonna see this person, and your brain starts to play tricks on you with your heart, right? Because your heart is like beating for this person. So you're like, okay, I really am in love with this person. I want to see them, even though if you talk for a short period of time, you're still having feelings for them, right? But that's when your brain is like, what if she's not your type? What if she's this? What if she's that? So it's weird when it first opens up and you're just looking straight at her. You kind of look at, it's like a black and white image. You know what I mean? And she just starts walking to you until she starts speaking. And that's when it colors, you know, like, because you hear the voice that you've been hearing for the last while. And that's when everything like turns into colors, right? We were super nervous. Like me and her were really, really nervous. And to be honest with you, the night before we were nervous, we didn't sleep. And then the way it happened, there was like a miscommunication for the reveal time. So it was supposed to be at a certain time, but then it was way earlier than that. So we were not ready for this. And that was one of the miscommunications that happened that led us to give you the reaction that you saw, which was the confusion, and also the fact that like she wasn't ready for me to be the way I was, and it was just kind of a shock. So yeah, that's, you get that, you know.
100% you get it. Like what a wild experiment
it
to be
was,
involved
yeah,
in, really.
It was, yeah.
But from an audience perspective, tell us about the edits of the show, because I'll be honest with you, in terms of how it looked, was that Asma went into that pod on the final time and it felt like she may not have chosen you. And then you mentioned your family business, and then she was like, oh, that's what it looked like. Yeah.
So look, the edit, you have to understand that we filmed for so many hours. And for them to create 8 hours out of like thousands of hours, it was like, it's crazy to me, you know, as an entertainer with an entertainment background, it's like nuts to do that. Yes, that was the narrative that they went in with, for sure. Did it have to do with that? I am not sure. That's like Asma, but for me, I don't think it was 100% based on that. But what I want to say is that it's very important for a girl to think financially as well. It's not, because me and Asma had a very strong connection mentally and emotionally way before we decided to talk about financials. The reason why we decided to talk about financials is because we've already made our mind up that we're at that level of me suggesting, hey, like, we should probably talk about this, you know, like, wouldn't you want to know your future partner if he's stable enough, if he's able to create a family with you, if he's able to take care of you? Because, you know, like, we're an Arab culture. Like, for me, like, the women's money is the women's money, and my money is our money. That's literally how it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I'm raised, right? Like, I will take care of my family regardless of what happens. If my girl wants to work, she can work. But do I need her to like spend money on the family? No, absolutely not. Like I'll take care of my family to the end, right? So isn't that like a reason for the woman to actually want to know if her partner can actually do that, or if he can't, maybe they can like plan something to reach something, or maybe you have certain goals that you're trying to achieve. So for me, that conversation, I think it got taken like way out of context, and they did make it look like she made that decision based on financials, but it was actually like that decision was made way before. So when we talked about that, like it was just kind of the icing on the cake, and she was surprised. Like that whole scene where she says, "Why did you not tell me this before? Like what happened?" There was so much talk before she said this, but the only thing that was shown was the financials, you know? So
Netflix, you did them dirty.
It's fine, it's okay. No, not at all. Like it's a very important thing. Like I honestly, my advice to every girl, every woman is, it's a very important thing to know if your partner is financially stable or not, and or if he has goals to be financially stable. You can't be living nowadays in 2024, 2025 coming up. It's not like the old days where things are simple, you know? Things are expensive, life is expensive, to have a kid is expensive, to create a family is expensive. So if you're not aligned financially on things, then you're never gonna be living a good, healthy, safe, stable life. So it is important. It has nothing to do with gold digging and all these things that people are saying, you know, like this is completely normal for two partners to create a relationship together. Yeah.
Well, at the first encounter, you and Asma split up.
Yes.
Now, what happened during the time that led you, you know, like reconsider getting back together?
So I told you, we were so confused and shocked with the reveal. That whole like part of us splitting, all we wanted to do was talk to each other. Like it's crazy how that happened. Is we left, and then we kind of were like, okay, is this done? Is this not done? Like what's going on here? And then I remember at night, I was asking for Asma's number, and at the same time she was asking for my number. But the production rules is just like, no, because we're still in the show, so we can't do that right now. But we just kind of forced until I picked up the phone and she contacted me after they gave us back our phones. And the first thing she said is, it's not what it seems, you know, like it's not what you think it is. I was just very confused and just did not know what was going on. And I really want to see you. I really want to talk to you. And that's when we kind of like, we're like, okay, let's give it a shot and let's go back together. And we had that sit down and we just kind of cleared everything out and we moved forward from it. So it wasn't that long of a period of time. It was like a few hours between like us splitting up and then just kind of like deciding to go back together.
Speaking of moving forward, this is a spoiler if you haven't seen the show, but they made it very close to the end.
Yes.
And just as individual characters, I feel like the public loved, you know, both of you individually. You both seem like amazing people, so I feel like people really wanted that yes to happen. But what happened was that Asma's family, they're not here, they're abroad, and you know, culture states that her parents would have to give you that yes. Would you have gone ahead with it if you hadn't got that yes, but she wanted to go ahead?
No, absolutely not. One of the things that I loved about Asma is that she was very family oriented. You know, like that's one of the biggest things that I look for in a woman, is that her family standards are so high that we can align together. I'm very close to my family. I'm super close to my family. You know, I consider them my backbone from day one, and they've done so much for me that I'm so appreciative of their existence in my life. So for a woman to not align with me on that, it's just not a match. So that was one of the very, very good things that we aligned on, and we were super emotional about this, but they didn't really show that in the final cut. Is that her story and my story kind of was so the same. Like her family is in Canada, my family was in Canada, or I was in Canada, they were here, her brother, my brother, her sister, you know, like all these things. So we made the decision that if we don't get the blessings of our families, there's no way we will go ahead with it. And when that happened, I said it in the reunion. I don't know if they showed it or not, but I think they did. I just don't remember. I said that even if she said yes, I would have said no. And I was very afraid of that because I did not want to be the person that rejects her, because I didn't want to reject her. you know? So it was easier for me that she says no, not today, and we kind of move forward with that, because at the end of the day, she's a woman, and it's not nice to just kind of like put her in that situation. So she made the right decision, and yeah, like I'm happy that we did that.
Right.
That's actually very kind of you to think. The thought process is very kind. But you said that your relationship couldn't work because you sleep only 2 hours
Yeah, that's another thing that
a
was
day. No,
taken
did
badly.
you go on the show thinking that you would find love with
Yeah, there's
that?
a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah.
So look, okay, back to the edit, all right? Sorry, Netflix. Yeah, but again, like the reunion was 9 hours shot, and then they can only take a few of that. So they kind of like cut it to whatever made sense. But they missed a very important point, which is since the beginning of the show until now, all I've been trying to do is fix my scheduling, my life, my routine, like all these things. I've lost 65 kilos.
Wow.
I do, yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. I did correct my sleeping schedule, so now I'm officially, like, let's say bare minimum, I'm sleeping 5 to 6 hours, which is fine. You know, that's not bad. I'm trying to do the 8 hours thing. I'm not DJing as much. I'm kind of focusing more on my actual business and just kind of creating music, versus just DJing every single night like I used to before. I'm only DJing once a week now. So it's just, for me, like, I'm single, so I get to just kind of enjoy my life, and instead of me like going out and partying, which I don't really do, I would rather entertain people and just kind of get that, you know, passion going, and just that pleasure that comes from it. So do I have time to give to my family? 100%. What people are taking out of context is that I'm single right now. So why do I need to like waste 8 to 9 hours of my life sleeping when I can just sleep 5-6 hours or 4 hours or whatever it is, and continue working on my dream until I find that person. But of course, if I create a family, it's my priority. I'm gonna give up anything to make sure that my family is happy, you know? I would love nothing more than to spend time with my wife, with my kids, like be the father that they need me to be the husband that she needs me to be. Like, this is a priority. I go back to how my dad and my mom are, right? My dad was a very busy person. He started from zero, you know? He built his whole empire from zero. Was he there for us? 100%. When he wasn't there, my mom was, you know? So it's a balance between the two partners. As much as I will give attention to the woman, there comes times where a man needs to take care of himself for the family, and that's when the women will step in and just kind of cover for that few like days, let's say, or few hours or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we go back to our normal balanced life of just us being a family. So a lot of people are taking that out of context, because they're like, how are you going to see your wife? How are you going to see your kids? What they're not realizing is my single life is different from when I'm in a relationship. So
it is all about teamwork.
Yes.
You were part of the Love is Blind Habibi experiment, but as we said, one of the factors that they say it didn't work out with you and Asma was lifestyles. But I do wonder, do you believe that love can conquer all? So if it was the right person, might it have worked out differently?
Look, love is part of the equation of a family, you know? But you can't build a family based on love only. To me, that's unrealistic. In today's world, like, there's a lot of different things that come in play. Financial is one of it, work is one of it, lifestyle is one of it, family is one of it, like your extended family is one of it, friends is one of it. Those all come into one equation that creates a match, right? For me and Esma, like, we were isolated from the whole world, that our love was the only thing that just kind of like went into play. When we came back into the real world, we just realized that there are certain things that just didn't align, right? Lifestyle, the way we like to live, the way we like to create our family. So instead of us just kind of like wasting each other's times, we were mature enough, and I don't want to say old enough, but like old enough to just kind of like realize that, hey, we don't have time to waste. Let's just be really good friends and just move forward with it. And if you guys, I don't know if you guys saw on Lovin Egypt, she said that she has a partner now and she's very happy, and I'm super happy for her. And I know about this before anybody else knew. Like, I'm giving her full support. She's a wonderful woman, and she also supports me. Like literally last night calls me and just like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Like, do you need anything? Like, we're still at that level of friendship, you know? So I'm super happy like for her and for our friendship.
Nice.
Well, I want to ask about standards.
Yes.
I think I've heard the word a lot on the show.
Yeah.
So what do you think some of the high standards that the ladies, I would say, brought to the show, like for example, like Hajar and Noor, you know, not sharing the type of lifestyle that, you know, they are looking for?
Look, the biggest problem, and I said this in the reunion, but they didn't make the cut. I'm not against Noor and Hajar at all. I'm against the idea that somebody, and I don't want the guys to think that I'm going after them, but it's just the reality. I'm against the idea of continuing with a person if you're not a match with them. So when Noor came and said, hey, I am 1, 2, 3, 4, these are my standards, me as a man, if it doesn't fit with me, I just say, okay, thank you so much, it's nice to meet you, but it's not for me. It's very wrong to go in and try to change somebody. Because it's just, this is what they want. Like if I come to you and you tell me I like burgers, and I come to you and I say, how dare you liking burgers? You know, like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't fit. Like it doesn't make sense. We're all human beings, and each one of us, we have a brain, and there are certain things that we want. So the whole idea of standards that Noor has and Hajar has, this is their life, and they deserve it because they want it, right? So they can just do whatever they want based on what they want, and there is a partner for them that would say, this is what I want, you know? Some of the guys didn't align with it, and at that point, it should have ended right there. And this is why I didn't speak in the reunion, because I'm literally sitting down there and I'm just saying, in my mind, I'm like, guys, like there's a way bigger thing that we're not speaking of, which is the fact that if they want to do what they want, then just let them do what they want. And if you guys want to do what you want, then they will let you do what you want. Why are we fighting? You know, there's no point to fight, because this person is not going to change and this person is not going to change. This is a personality at the end of the day. So they have the right to take whatever they want, and these guys have the right to refuse whatever they want, right? Was there a mistake with the whole conversation? 100%. From both ends, in my opinion, it wasn't handled the way it should have been handled.
Do you think Noor was disrespected?
Like for her? The way that she was spoken to as a woman, yes, for sure. And the guys know my stance on this. The guys know my stance on this. But was it cut differently? Sure. Was there a lot more things that should have been done differently or stopped earlier on? 100%. You gotta understand, like, emotions play a big role in this, and the guys are very sweet and very emotional. A lot of people don't know this about the guys, but they're actually very sweet and very emotional. So to them, they felt inside that they were being attacked, which they shouldn't, because again, from the beginning, they should have understood that this is just not a match for me, you know? Like, for example, the whole situation between Dr. Ammar and Karma. From the beginning, in my opinion, when Ammar said, like, I don't like dancing, at that point, Karma should have said, okay, then you're not my match, you know? For me, I'm like black or white. There's no like in between. He
also
you know?
could have said, "I don't like dancing. Goodbye."
100%. But I'm saying, like, in general, like for me as a DJ, for example, and I said that to Karma as well, because she's a wonderful person. Like, she's a really nice girl. I said it's our responsibility as entertainers to just kind of like explain to people how our work is, right? From the other side, yes, like, he should have 100%. This is why people need to understand this. Like, it's not a one-sided thing, you know, like, it's a both side type of situation, you know, both sides made mistakes. So both sides need to take responsibility for things, you know. That whole like pointing the fingers at certain people is wrong. The only wrong that happened is that, yes, there was the whole like fighting should have not happened, because at the end of the day, these are women. They're sensitive. They should be loved. They should not be like going against, right? And I'll tell you something that I don't think anybody have heard this before. All the guys, they all regret what happened. And if they have another chance, they will do it a completely different way. Because it's just like on the inside of them, they're clean. But in that certain situation, there was a lot of outside like influence that made it get to that level. So,
I mean, sometimes you do get out of character,
100%.
which is like very normal. But getting back to Noor,
yes,
and her conversation with Dunya and Shafiq, do you think Dunya and Shafiq will actually Make it as a couple?
Oh, 100%. There's a lot of secrets that I can't say, but you guys will be very shocked very soon.
They're engaged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you know that.
I did.
Yeah, they were wearing the.
They got engaged, and like they even did the
I got
TikTok trend and everything.
Yeah, no, they're engaged in the reunion. They're wearing the. But they're doing very well. Like they're doing very, very well. They're a very cute couple. So
they were super cute. We only have time for a very short game before you leave us. But before we get there, thank you for being so honest and open about all of the show.
No problem.
We lapped it up, and I'm going to watch it later again.
Yeah.
But we're going to play a little quick game, rapid fire questions, and it's a who is or who done it.
Okay, cool.
So, who was the most genuine couple?
Genuine couple? Mohammed and Safa. Yeah.
Of course.
I love these guys.
All right. Well, which couple surprised you by staying together?
Well, like, yeah, so there's only 3 of us, right? None, because Dunya and Shafiq were #1, like together from day 1. They were like yelling at each other every single day, so that wasn't a surprise. Muhammad and Safa wasn't a surprise. I knew, because Safa is Iraqi, right? And I'm Iraqi. The moment I talked to Safa, I knew her match was Muhammad. So I used to come out and be like, listen, bro, like this is your match, you know, like you need to talk to her. This is the girl for you. So there was no surprise at all for me at whoever was together, you know.
I love them so much. Who wasn't looking for love?
Who wasn't looking for love? I don't think there was anybody that wasn't looking for love. I think everybody went in with the idea of, are we gonna do it or are we not gonna do it? After the first couple of pods, everybody was falling. I'm telling you, everybody was falling. Like, you can see it in everyone's eyes and like kind of having the conversation with the guys. I'm talking about the guys, you know, like everybody was falling. Like it was funny, yeah.
Well, who was the most misunderstood cast member?
In my opinion, Noor. I really think Noor was misunderstood. Just because like, look, like I have a lot of friends like Noor, you know. People judge based on the outside. That's the whole idea of the show, is that you're not supposed to judge on the outside, right? Noor, when you talk to her off air, she's like a wonderful person, actually. She's very sensitive, very nice, but she wants to show that she's a strong woman, you know. And sometimes that gives off the wrong vibe. But she's actually very misunderstood. She's a really nice woman.
Which couple should have happened?
Should have happened? I think Simo and Yasmin. Yeah. Yasmin is a very nice girl. Very nice girl. And Simo is a nice guy too. He just, look, Simo is whatever here is here.
Yeah.
I think he's the most unfiltered person I've ever met in my entire life. And this is why people sometimes like misunderstand him for being like I don't know what they even say, like he's just that like very like, oh, I don't like this, I'm gonna leave, you know, that type of scenario. I've never met somebody like that. To me, I would rather a person like this, because then like there's absolutely no acting, you know. He's just telling you how it is. If he doesn't like you, I don't like you, and just walks away, versus like a politician mind where it just like comes and diplomatic and all these things. So Simon and Yasmin would have been a good match.
Well, who will appear on the next season?
I have no idea. I don't think it's done, like the casting.
Yeah.
Would anyone go back?
I don't think that's allowed. Yeah, but that's all in Netflix hands, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But from me being a Love is Blind fan, I don't think that's allowed.
You know?
The only time it happened, I think, is like after like 5-6 seasons, then they brought people back. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think there's anybody that will go back. Yeah.
Okay, TBC for now. That is Khatab from Love is Blind, Habibi, a show we lapped it up. So thank you so much for spilling the tea this morning.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Casey.
And that brings us to the end of the Love in Dubai show. We're back here with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Bye-bye.